Urban Media Today talks sports with Ray Porter Jr., Vince Butts, and Trevin A Jones on Urban Media Today Radio.
It's game time!
It's Urban Media Today talks sports. We got Dr. Means in the house. We got Ray Porter Jr. You got Keith Platt Jr. and Coach William Greg Hoyd Jr. And Pastor D, he had to go. But he dropped some gems before he left, and I'm quite sure you heard him. And it was all good. These cats got me pumped up. I'm ready to go play ball. Coach, go ahead and start off the fourth quarter, and then we'll go around the room with something significant that has stuck out in our minds this week. Go ahead.
All right. Well, as you can see, Dr. Means, this is a pretty lively show. We talk about sports, and we just talk like real stuff, real life situations. This is a great opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about. I want to talk a little bit about you and your wife. You met your wife. She went to Clark, Atlanta, and we talk about HBCUs. A lot of generational families and have a lot of men have found their wives, and a lot of women have found their husband at Morehouse or at Howard or Norfolk State. Talk a little bit about tell the listeners about how you met your wife, and your wife is really pretty successful from what I hear. Go ahead.
Well, brothers, I was a player when I got down to Atlanta. I was a narcissistic, big time looking and loving nobody but myself. They used to call me Harlem Brown and Burst her. And I got down to Atlanta and I was looking for some honeys. When I found my wife, I was on the stroll looking for somebody else, and I met her that first night. My brother who was with me, he hit on her, and it didn't work out. The next day I saw her again in another dormitory. And I remember saying, I said, "Aren't you my friend's boyfriend?" She said, "No." So I said, "Hey, well, here's my name, here's my number. Show up at my crib." She showed up at my crib, and when we got to my crib, the sister came, and she said, "I want some food." I said, "Well, you carry yourself going over to Stiegel's restaurant across there and come back out, you been eating. I ain't spending no money on you." Well, when she came back, we sat down and talked for a while, and then she asked me about my background. She's from East St. Louis. I'm from Harlem. But then the first thing we started talking about was the death of her sister and its impact on her, and the death of my mother. The next thing we started talking about was a tape I had lying around, and it was a sermon that I preached called "The Lord Will Provide for Us." It says something simple as, God has been looking out for us even when we can't look out for ourselves. When we can't provide for ourselves, God has always been the one that's made a way out of no way. And the church I used to sing at and go to used to sing the song, "He may not come when you want him, but he's always right on time." And it just resonated with both of our experiences. When I was in school, that sister stuck with me, prayed for me. I almost didn't graduate on time. Let me tell you what the sister did. This sister turned around, and I'm telling you, I mean, she was patient because I wasn't about nobody but me. She prayed with me, fed me. She wanted me, and I didn't know if I wanted her at the time, but I knew I loved her. This sister, when I was about to graduate, my dean told me, "You can't get in line." I hadn't made the number of credits because I had transferred into the school. I needed some more credits. So dean said, "Well, you got to get out of the line." I told my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, that I need some help. I don't know what to do. She told her mama. She said her mama called her because her mama was one of them praying, washed women from East St. Louis. Her mama called up her and tell him to go to see the dean to say, "Look, if you allow me to take an overload, 29 credits, an overload during the summer, if I pass, would you let me graduate?" The dean gave me a consent. All of my professors gave me a consent. I studied one subject, but said I had 11 classes, only one subject. And that subject was something like history or walking with God or something like that. Whatever the subject was, I made every one of those papers around that same subject. Brothers, I'm here to say to you, in 2.5 years, I graduated with an MDiv on Saturday. On Sunday, I was at a $96,000 church serving the Lord at crib. Wow. was grateful, man. What I'm saying to you is, I learned that the woman who was right there, always right by my side, trying to encourage me. She was the one. She loved me when I didn't know how to love myself. And I'm telling you, brothers, a lot of us don't know how to love nothing but ourselves. And then some of us don't even know how to love ourselves. That's just to love me, help me understand. Because I had never had a friend that was a woman. She helped me understand what it was to recognize a woman who was a friend, who loved me beyond myself. And then she helped me recognize who her God was. And I tell you, to this day, we are so blessed, and we are a collaborative team. We've got 7 children, and my son's name is Will. My other son is Messiah. My daughter's name is Sierra Chanel Candia Marquita, Anointing Miriam, Angel Lamore, and Divinity Sacred Allah means. We're blessed, brothers.
All right. Awesome.
Definitely. So with that being said, and I appreciate that, Dr. Means, that's good stuff. What I want to do is I want us to go around the room, and because I know we all got some blessings to talk about, but because this COVID thing is sticking out in my mind. I mean, I have friends, I have I'm looking for family to be protected, but it hits home sometimes. And that being said, I just want to. That's something I'm going to talk about, but I want to see what you gentlemen see, even in the sports world. Doesn't have to be about sports. What stuck out in your mind this week? Something that's just weighing heavy that you just got to share. And Coach, we're going to start with you first.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely a lot of the high schools around the country have either canceled the season or pushed the season out to the spring. A lot of the high schools. I know that took a lot of stress off of the high school athletes for sports, because they didn't know if they were going to have their senior season, a lot of the seniors. So it was a lot of unknowns, especially in recruiting, because I own a national recruiting company. I talk to parents as well as athletes all around the country, and they're always asking me, we don't know what's going to happen. So just as of late, as in Texas moved their season out. Actually in California, where I am, they actually moved their season out to spring, and they won't start until the latter part of January. So that took a lot of stress off the young athletes. Again, we as adults, we know how to manipulate stress. We can deal with stress a little bit better than young athletes. And so that was a big kind of breath of fresh air for a lot of those young athletes, and that there's going to be an opportunity to have a season, and that the adults have made a conscious decision to make a decision to help these athletes out.
Well, Keith Platt Jr., what you got, man?
Shout out to the NBA, man. No positive tests inside the bubble since July 12th. And keep an eye on Russell Westbrook. He just now got back inside the bubble. He had tested positive. He made it through. God bless him. And I think he's going to tear the bubble up. So, yeah, just watch out for Russell Westbrook. And shout out to the NBA. I think they're doing a remarkable job in trying to make this thing work. And I think it is going to work.
And you and I got to talk, man. We ain't have time during this show to talk about the pandemic and sports like we usually do. But me and you, we're going to have a deep discussion during the next show, because I like where you're coming from. But I have some questions for you in reference to that. Ray Porter Jr., what you got, man?
Yeah, just doing a lot of thinking. In addition to the NBA beginning, I know Major League Baseball has also began their 60-game season with expanded playoffs. And I had a chance to peep some of the Pirates versus Indians game last Saturday, just to see what it looked like, the format. I mean, obviously no fans and simulated crowd noise, which I thought was pretty creative. So it's really something to see where we're at right now. And in my heart of hearts, it's just easy for me to say they just shouldn't have anything at all, especially in college sports. But, we think of kids. But, again, we know it's not easy on them because it being their senior year, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just such a serious time. And like you were saying, Keith, you should not have to have it happen to know how serious it is. But it is hitting home. I mean, just a week ago, someone I know lost their life because of it, and it's just no joke. It's no joke at all. So I salute sports for doing what they can to make this thing work. I do. But I also will understand if they make the decision like they did with the NCAA not to have it. So really just been thinking about that,
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Dr. Means, I'm going to let you go, and then I'll go last. Anything that was prevalent on your mind this weekend, sir, or this week?
Yeah, I think that I'm against the start of all the sports right now. I think that we should be a bit more patient. I don't think that we've given this pandemic enough time to kill itself out of amongst those who are in the United States and abroad. I think that patience will make sports fans grow hungry and more desirous to be able to see the game. I don't think that we should be coming into contact where we might lose lives, more lives. You know, it's one thing to have lost Kobe Bryant in 2019. It was another thing to lose all of our giants and great sports players in 2020.
Good stuff. I like that. And on that, in that vein, the SWAC, what they did, the MEAC had canceled their season. I think the MEAC suspended their season. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference suspended their season for the all fall sports. The SWAC followed that, and they postponed all fall sports. 2 HBCU conferences I'm speaking of. I love that. And I'll tell you why in a second. Tennessee State, who's in the Ohio Valley Conference, another HBCU, they're going to have a fall season because the Ohio Valley Conference has a contract. So they're already saying that they're going to have a fall season. But I pose this to you, gentlemen, and I will come from the Black perspective. As Black men and Black women out there doing their thing, enjoying their sports, I know you love your sports, and I can appreciate and respect that. But this thing is bigger than sports. This is life. And when you're looking at life, sometimes, and I'm just going to put a Trevinism in there, sometimes I feel like God, Allah, whoever you believe in, will tell you it's time to sit still. It's time to sit still, push pause, and restart. And I think if there can be anything that's beauty coming out of this, is people paying attention to what's really going on in the world, number one. People coming together, as we've just done, number two. And then learning from the experience together and seeing the same vision and being able to come to the table. And I've already put out a challenge on one show to the NCAA. If you really care about these students, these are somebody's children. You won't have a season. I think there's always good to have hope and say, okay, maybe we'll do it in the spring, or maybe we'll just do it next year. It's always good to have hope. But common sense, I think, prevails. And if you use common sense, and all of us have faith here, and I believe everybody has faith, it's just sometimes the way they work with it. Lean on that faith and lean on your common sense and say, okay, that's a wrap for now. Let's pause. Let's adhere to what we have to do so we can get better and move forward. That's just me.
What? Makes sense.
It's Urban Media Today Talk Sports. Man, we had an awesome show today. We had Coach William Greg Hoyd Jr., my man Ray Porter Jr., we had Keith Platt Jr., the youngin'. We had Dr. Means on the show today as a special guest. Kappa call, Saturdays, right, Doc?
Yes, Saturdays and Sundays.
Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, and the times again?
5:30 Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 Central Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
On Saturdays and Sundays. And then we had Pastor D on earlier as well. He left us in the third quarter. We're going to have both of these gentlemen back, but this was an impactful show, and I hope you listened. This will be posted to the website, so it's going to be there for forever. You can go listen every time you want to listen. Just click it on. I like that. I like that, Dr. Means. He put it up there. Go ahead.
There you go.
It's Urban Media Today Talk Sports. Have a great weekend. Thank you for listening. We'll see y'all.
Urban Media Today talks sports every week on Urban Media Today Radio, where you can listen in on free music and podcasts on our SoundCloud station at Urban Media Today. And for more information, log on to urbanmediatoday.com, your lifestyle, entertainment, and sports blog website.
What type of games being played? How's it doing that? I get up, all right?